418. Just three little digits, right? But according to the really radical text we're digging into today, that number represents a complete, ground-up rewrite of human existence. I want you to just take a second and ask yourself, what do you actually think human life is going to look like in exactly 1,000 years? Are we still going to have nations? Are we still going to use money? Heck, will we even raise our own children? Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly wild utopian manifesto. This text, which is titled 418 Opened a New Chapter in Human Civilization, was written by an author named Zhu Feng. And you guys, it doesn't just casually predict the future, it proposes a total, fundamental overhaul of human civilization. We're talking about a highly detailed, 8-point blueprint for an entirely new era. So today, we're going to break down exactly what this manifesto envisions for the next millennium. We'll look at everything from how we structure our families, all the way up to how the entire globe is governed. Okay, so let's look at the timeline to understand where this all actually began. According to the text, the seeds of this whole movement were planted 14 years ago when a group gathered in Taiwan, Shanxi, China. The author cites this specific gathering as the exact moment the curtain opened on a new era. And that number, 418, representing April 18th, serves as the symbolic starting point. It's described as the spiritual energy driving this whole new mode of production and life. The people in this group call themselves Chanyuan Celestials of Life Chanyuan, and they basically view themselves as enlightened architects who are mapping out the future. And their sheer ambition, it's massive. They want to establish a new living form designed to last for the next 1,000 years, with the ultimate goal of turning Earth into a literal paradise.
Part 1. The Micro. Redefining Family and Society.
To really wrap our heads around how this 1,000-year paradise is supposed to work, we kind of need to start small. Before we get into global politics or economics, the manifesto argues for a total upheaval of our personal daily lives. And I mean everything, from who we live with to who raises the next generation. The author asserts that traditional marriage and the biological family unit, as a historical form of life, will completely disappear. Poof, gone. In its place, the text introduces what it calls the second home model. In this setup, traditional family bonds are entirely dissolved in favor of a strictly communal existence. So imagine giving up your child at 3 years old. The text explicitly states, all children are the commonwealth and treasure of humanity. In this blueprint, the nurturing and education of children is simply no longer the responsibility of parents. Literally, from the moment a child is weaned at 3 years old, all the way through their university graduation, they are raised collectively. The source outlines a system where experienced, knowledgeable individuals, who are heavily assisted by artificial intelligence, by the way, completely take over the role of nurturing and educating the youth. It's a massive, fundamental shift in how we view human attachment, and it lays the groundwork for a society that's managed entirely by logic and communal algorithms rather than emotional family ties. Let's shift gears to the other end of the age spectrum. If the kids are raised by society, what happens to the elderly? Well, the blueprint completely socializes elderly care as well. The burden is completely lifted off adult children. Instead, the elderly are fully integrated into collective life, living right alongside the youth and middle-aged individuals. The text explicitly calls for the total elimination of nursing homes and any independent elderly support models. The whole goal here is total integration, wiping out the isolation and loneliness that so often comes with old age in our current society. Part 2. The Macro. A borderless, cashless AI world. All right. Having completely dismantled the traditional household, the manifesto expands its focus outward to the global stage. Because think about it, if families and marriages don't exist anymore, it naturally follows that the broader societal structures supporting them have to shift too. Consider how we interact with the world right now. It's mostly through money, right? Well, the blueprint predicts the total disappearance of all existing national currencies. In their place is something called F-Coin. But the author makes a very specific, absolutely crucial distinction here. F-Coin is not actually a currency in the way we understand dollars or euros. It is defined as a reflection of each person's personal value contribution to society. So financial wealth is replaced entirely by a metric of personal dedication. And when you completely eliminate traditional money, a cascade of other massive systemic changes just naturally follows. Private ownership completely eliminated. All resources belong to humanity as a whole. Religion fades away too, replaced by what the text refers to as natural Tao. In the workplace, traditional management is tossed out, replaced by service and dedication. The author paints this picture where, because everyone has abundant material resources, housing, and entertainment, things like theft, corruption, competition, and even more. They simply disappear. It's a vision of total harmonious coexistence. So, the million-dollar question, or I guess the million F coin question, is how on earth is all of this actually managed? Who oversees a completely cashless, borderless, propertyless globe? The answer the text provides is perhaps the most striking element of the entire blueprint. The state, as we know it today, completes its historical mission and is totally dissolved. In its place, a global management model formed by strong artificial intelligence takes over. Yes, you heard that right. The path to a deeply spiritual communal nirvana relies entirely on turning the keys of the planet over to an omnipotent global computer. This, according to the text, is the exact thing that allows humans to finally enter an era of orderly and free migration on a global scale. Now, obviously, putting AI in charge of the globe brings up massive anxieties for a lot of people today. We see the headlines all the time about AI replacing jobs or even posing an existential threat to humanity. The author totally anticipates this. Addressing fears that robots will eliminate humanity, Chufang states directly, and I quote, "Not only will it not happen, but robots will become the best assistants to bring benefits to humans." The text presents this really intense techno-optimism. According to the blueprint, this isn't some dystopian sci-fi takeover, it's actually a predetermined program for human civilization to leap forward. It's framed as an absolutely essential step to ensure humans can simply enjoy the pleasures of life without the messy burden of governance.
Part 3. The Cosmic. The Ultimate Human Choice.
Because you see, this manifesto isn't just sociological or political. Actually, scratch that, it carries profound theological claims too. This is where the text lays out its final argument regarding exactly why this 1,000-year plan is happening right now and who is truly pulling the strings. The text reveals this underlying cosmic architecture, claiming that Earth and humanity are not alone, nor are we ultimately in charge. We are under the care and management of life forms, spelled with a capital L-I-F-E, that are far more advanced than humans. The manifesto suggests that a creator is actively managing this entire transition, effectively putting humans into a perfectly managed terrarium where we are safe, provided for, and allowed to just enjoy eternity, completely overseen by higher beings and strong AI. And that brings us to the author's final ultimatum. You basically have two stark choices. Choice 1, embrace the blueprint. If you enter this new form, you get to enjoy the endless grace, pleasures, and eternity of life in the new mode. Choice 2, continue your current life. But the text explicitly warns that if you cling to traditional families, money, and nations, you will only become increasingly anxious, disappointed, and hopeless. The manifesto frames embracing this brand new way of life not just as a nice, fun idea, but as literally the absolute best life choice you could possibly make in today's era. So, we've walked through the blueprint, from AI-assisted communal child rearing and the total end of private ownership, all the way up to global AI governance overseen by advanced cosmic life forms. It is undeniably a massive, radical thought experiment. And now I want to turn this whole thing over to you. Looking at the entirety of Chufang's 1,000-year vision, does a borderless, familyless, AI-managed world sound like the ultimate human paradise, or does it sound like a waking dystopia? It's a pretty fascinating question about what we truly value as a civilization. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Until next time, ask yourself, what parts of our world today are you actually willing to let go of for tomorrow?